This right here might actually be the best BMW ever made, in my opinion. If you think the M2 competition was cool, this takes it up about 10 notches. This is the M2 CS 2020 model year. So what we're gonna do in this video is gonna have a look at this absolutely stunning design from a front, side, rear, interior, and then we're gonna take this for a drive. If you're interested in this specific model, go and visit winslowbmw.com. I'm gonna link that down in the description. But let's jump in to this absolutely stunning piece of art that is the M2 CS. Let's have a look at some of the basic spec and tech of the 2020 BMW M2 CS. You have a 3-liter twin-turbo inline-6, putting out 440 horsepower and 406 pound-feet of torque. It's connected to either a 6-speed manual or a 7-speed dual-clutch transmission. All the power is sent to the rear wheel. 0 to 60 takes 3.8 seconds. Fuel economy comes in at 17 city, 24 highway, and the price for this is $93,991. Now, when you look at the M2 CS from a front view like we're doing right now, it feels like it's just the normal M2 competition, but we have a completely different hood. This is all carbon fiber, painted carbon fiber on the hood. On the roof, we have exposed carbon fiber to lower that center of gravity. And what I love about this generation M2 is just it has this proper BMW look to it that is kind of not available in the current M2, where everything got a lot more static and industrial. Here, we still have a lot of emotion in this design. This is all black, so it's hard to see the graphics in it, but you do have the combined grills here in the middle with this section. I love the grill design of this. It looks so much better than in the normal M2. It has the same grill like we have in the competition, and it looks fantastic. Just modernizes everything to have the competition and the CS grill in the front end compared to the normal M2. So what separates the M2 competition and the M2 CS in the front end? Well, we do have this big carbon fiber splitter at the lower section extending the lower lip for the front end of the M2 CS. Looking fantastic, makes it feel like it's hugging the ground more. And of course, I'll talk about up top, we do have this super nicely sculpted hood that goes into this section here. You have the bulge in the middle, and then this is actually functional air vents, extractors on top of the hood in this carbon fiber hood. Underneath the hood, it looks very nice because there you can see all the carbon fiber that we have on this car. Very nicely done by BMW, and it's such an interesting way of looking at it. The new M2 and just how big of a design revolution it is from this generation. Looking at the M2 CS from a straight front view like you're doing right now, it has this both elegant look to it, but it also has this very confident, almost borderline aggressive look to it. What I love about this is the opening down here. We have this fin going into this functional air vent. We also have these 3 cutouts in the lower section that you have on the competition as well, but you don't have that on the normal BMW M2 of this generation from 2018, I believe, or 16 maybe it came out. Overall, fantastic looking design. We have a proper separation with the bumper. See this? We have a nice separation of the bumper, separating the top half graphics from the lower half graphics. Very, very nicely done. Coming around to the side view of the 2020 M2 CS, I love the proportions of this thing. This has one of the best proportions of a small sporty coupe. It just looks tight and beefy. We're going to talk about the wheel and tire setup. We have 19 inches, both front and rear. Love the spec here with the red and the black. The wheels size, the tire size in the rear are 265. You have 245s in the front end. Personally, I would not go with a black car because it doesn't allow me to appreciate the line flow and all these surfaces, specifically this bulging rear fender, as it would if we were to have a bit of a lighter color. But overall, these proportions, it's very hard to beat this generation M2 when it comes to the proportions of this thing. Now, in typical BMW fashion, we do have the shoulder line right here cutting in very sharply into the front fender, then creating this graphic feature that is not functional. So this is the M2 CS, and I would love to see this part being functional, this being the CS. You can have it be fake in the normal M2 and the competition, but here, just cut this out and make it an extractor. It would look a lot cooler than just having this plastic piece here. But we also have carbon fiber hood, as we talked about, carbon fiber roof, and also carbon fiber side mirrors looking absolutely fantastic. Again, the black kind of melts everything in, so I would like to have this in a bright color, maybe not gray, but something lighter so you can see the reflections of everything and the contrast between the carbon fiber pieces and the body itself. Now, looking at the car from a almost 3/4 rear view, you can see the shoulder line cutting in here, beautifully done into the taillights right here, and then he comes back with this massive muscle over the rear wheel arch. I think it's such a good looking design, this thing. It looks planted specifically from a rear view, which you're gonna have a look at in just a minute. And then of course, you do have the shoulder line, the A-pillar going down right into the center of the front axle like we want to have on a properly proportioned car. And overall, I think the side view might be my favorite view for the M2 just because of these gorgeous proportions that we have here. Coming around to the 3/4 rear view of the M2 CS, and you can see that we have this beautiful carbon fiber lip up top. I'm not sure if I can call this a lip anymore because it's pretty substantial compared to the normal M2 competition, which definitely has this M lip on it. This is a lot bigger than that. Moving further down, you can see that we also have a carbon fiber diffuser down here. One thing that I would like to change on this that I always thought was a kind of a weird engineering / design implementation on the M2 is just how far down the exhaust sticks, or the silver piece you can see hanging down there almost like a diaper. I just want to tuck that in a little bit better in the rear end of the M2. But other than that, a very nice rear end of this generation M2, like we have in the front and the side as well. The interior, also a huge fan of that. We're gonna have a look at that in just a second. Now, coming around to the taillight design, this is the facelifted version of the M2. They used to have a different type of taillights. Did it come out in 2016 or 2018? When it first came out, they didn't have this big juicy LED that you have going down here. I love how everything is integrated in the rest of the flow of the body in here. You can see that it's thicker on the side, thicker in the bottom, then goes into a thinner piece, creating this more of a dynamic feel that we need to have in BMWs that is sort of lagging in today's cars. How can we talk about the M2's exterior without having a look at it from a straight rear view? Because this, to me, is a textbook design of how to properly plant a car on the ground. Have a look at the wide fenders here and how flush the wheels sit with the bodywork. Some of you say, when I say I want to have wheels flush with the bodywork, you're saying it's gonna rub in the top fender here. But yeah, I'm not talking about having it stick further out than the body itself. Just have it be in line like we have here, and this is how it comes from factory. And this is what BMW does so well, is just to simply sumo squat their cars and have them sit properly on the ground, and this is no exception. Welcome to the very beautiful interior of the 2020 M2 CS. It's absolutely fantastic in here. Why did we have to go to double screens up top? This is totally perfect setup for me. This is as far as I want technology to be pushed when it comes to interior design. So let's fire this up. It is the dual clutch automatic transmission, the 7-speed in this case, so no clutch pedal right here. So having it, let's see if we can dial it down, the exhaust a little bit, and go into comfort. Maybe we'll quiet down. I think you can still hear me. It's just an M2 CS. What do you expect? It's gonna be a little loud. Up top, we do have this integration of the infotainment screen. This looks like maybe a 7 or 8-inch screen. I don't care. It looks nice, and the size is totally fine for me. I don't need any bigger size than this. This is, in fact, a touchscreen, but you can control it with this dial down here as well if you want to. Go into navigation. Let's see what that looks like if you're going to map. It looks pretty old school, and it's not the most responsive display, but that's totally fine because you're sitting in a BMW M2 CS, so you're not really gonna pay attention to the display up top. And if you were navigating somewhere, you'll probably just use your phone anyway. Very nicely done. I do like this integration so much better than the double screens, the double 12.3-inch screens that we have right now in BMWs. Not sure why the entire automotive industry is going away from that. Further down, we do have the two vents, very standardized vents, not much to talk about here, but you do have this Alcantara piece and the silver trim piece that goes along here like we have in the normal M2 competition as well, and you have the CS right in here in red in this Alcantara. Fantastic little detail. You have the presets for the radio, volume control right here. Further down, have a look at this. Knobs. This feels so old school, but still so refreshing to have knobs for your climate control settings and for the fan speed as well. You do have heated seats in 3 different levels. You don't have ventilated seats in this case. I would say maybe in this price range you want to have ventilated seats, specifically on a hot day like today. And you also have, of course, the same buttons for the passenger side. Below the climate control settings, you do have this storage piece or rubberized surface you can put your phone on. This is not a wireless charger, it's just a place to place your phone on with the 2 cup holders right here, which you can cover up if you want to. And then we come to this gear selector. This is typical gear selector designed by BMW of this time. And these are the fun buttons here. This is what you want to see in an M car. You have the drive selector, so you have efficient, sport, and sport plus. You're going to keep it in efficient right now. You also have the same settings for the suspension and the steering itself. You have the speed or the ferocity of the gear shifts right here with this knob and the parking assist button, traction control on and off. Then you have this little shift knob right here in the middle in this silver trim, which I think would probably be nice if they put carbon fiber around this, because we'd have carbon fiber in other places in this interior. I feel like this silver trim piece just doesn't feel like it's fitting in here. I want to have this being carbon fiber. And as we talked about on this armrest with no storage in here, you do have this dial to control the infotainment screen, and you also have a good old e-brake manually adjusted. Moving on to these seats, absolutely fantastic looking seats. And these you can adjust these. When I first stepped into this, the bolstering on the side was like crushing my ribs. So you can really adjust the bolstering to really hug you if you want to. I like to have it in a little softer setting than that, but it's definitely still gonna hug me when we go into the corners. Then you have the M logo in the backrest, and you have the M colors in the headrest with this red stitching going around it, and the holes in the middle. Typical M seat. I love these M seats that they've been doing since the E36 M3. Beautifully done as well. Moving on to the steering wheel, you have the M stitching going around it, Alcantara all around, and I actually like these pedals. They feel pretty nice. They're not as long as I would want it to be. I would want to have them stick out just a little bit underneath these spokes. But the feel for these pedals, I can't wait to drive this thing in just a minute. Gonna be so much fun to see how this drives compared to the normal M2 competition that I reviewed a while ago. And you also have this typical holding pattern. It's like something is holding up the center of the steering wheel, this round piece. On the right side, you have the voice control and you have the settings for the radio. On the left side, you have the 2 configurable drive settings, M1 and M2, and the cruise control settings over on the left side. Look at this gorgeous gauge cluster. This is one of my favorite gauge clusters I think I have ever seen in production, because we do have digital gauges inside a analog housing. So it's a very unique integration, and the bottom piece is all digital, so you can have whatever information you want to have at the bottom. Up top, of course, this being a carbon fiber roof, cutting out a sunroof in here would be a very bad idea, so I'm glad that they didn't do anything like that and just kept it simple like this, just like I prefer. Looking at the doors, looking very nice with this huge carbon fiber grab piece, and you also have the Alcantara with some leather in contrast with the red stitching that we have going around the sides and the Alcantara pieces on the doors. Nicely done. Yes, there is a back seat back here, and I could probably fit back there, but I'm not even gonna try because it looks very tight and I don't wanna move the passenger seat all the way forward. Last but not least, we do have a proper size. I'm surprised by the size of this glove box for a small little 2 Series. It's about that time. We're taking the 2020 BMW M2 CS 1 out of 500 for a drive. Are you ready for this? Let's go. Just kidding, hold up a minute. We need to talk about what's under the hood of this thing. Of course, it's rear wheel drive. So all this power is sent to the rear wheels. 444 horsepower from a 3-liter twin turbo inline 6, 0 to 60 in about 3.8 seconds. And I loved the normal M2 competition, but this just takes that up to a whole nother level. So we're in comfort. Let's put it in Sport Plus. What am I doing in comfort here? And also up the shift ferocity to top. So now we're in manual mode. And let's see. what this M2 CS can do. Let's go. Ooh. Okay. These M2s are so fun to drive. I mean, would you expect anything else with these proportions? And the size of this thing, and it's a BMW M car, the top of the line, small M2, the CS, of course gonna be fun to drive. But they feel so tight, these generations of the M2. I love the feeling that you have in here. This one has 6,000 miles on it. Feels brand new, and the sound is fantastic. Would I personally go with the 7-speed automatic like we have here? Fantastic automatic. Just phenomenal. I love the shift pedals, the feel that you have here, this distinct click to them. And oh, it just sounds so good. But I would probably most likely go with the manual in this one, because it's one of these cars that is just made to be a manual car in my position, my opinion. Even though this, oh man, it pulls. It is so quick, this car. Just the ultimate driving machine comes into mind when you're driving this car. And let's do the down to second, traffic circle, out of the traffic circle, let's go. Oh yeah. However, talking about this color though, I think it's almost a shame to have this in black, because it just hides the beautiful lines and the design of this car. And I think that same goes for the wheels. I would not have it in black exterior color, specifically not on the CS when you have all these beautiful carbon fiber on the roof. The hood is not exposed carbon fiber, but the side mirrors as well. It just doesn't make sense to me to have this in black, because you can't really see the contrast between. Oh, that is so addictive. Just punching the gas and just taking off like a rocket. As I said, I would not have it in black on black, like black wheels, black body. Probably have something in the lines of maybe red would look like a deep red for the M2 CS would be very nice to see. So how can we sum up the 2020 BMW M2 CS? I mean, to me, it's definitely one of the best cars BMW has ever made. And it's very hard to beat this type of performance. And in addition to the looks of this M2 CS, I think it's just a fantastic car overall. And it feels like, in many ways, this was, for me at least, peak BMW, both when it comes, as I said, to the performance and the interior styling, just enough technology with some traditional sense for the layout of stuff in here. So I think it's, in that sense, I do think this is very close to being the perfect BMW ever made. If you're interested in this one, go and visit winslowbmw.com. I'm going to link that in the description below. Thanks to them for providing this beautiful M2 CS for me to review for you guys. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I hope to see you in the next one. Take care.